We are on the building site today. We're doing a retrofit of an air source heat pump, 250 liters hot water cylinder and around 130 square meters of underfloor heating throughout the whole of the ground floor. So the heat pump will go on this wall. I'm wall hanging it again. I want to raise it off the floor, and it's a bit easier than building serious footings for those units. And we also chose the plant room location behind that wall in the garage. So we've got very short pipe runs between the external unit and the plant room. So this is where the plant room is going, and the heat pump will be on the other side of that wall. Main supply, hot water going back to the property in 25 ml MLCP. And my flow and return going to underfloor heating manifold centrally at the property, and radiators in 32 millimeters pre-insulated MLCP. I've also run my wiring for the unit, and the electrician run the wiring for controls right here. Now walking from the plant room to the property, that pre-insulated MLCP goes under the floor. No joints in the floor, one continuous coil of pipe about 15 meters. And it gets to right here. That's the same MLCP coming out, and that pipework going to radiators on the first floor, and that pipework here goes to understairs on the ground floor to the manifold.
It should look good. Still, but no.
I'm in the middle of doing this plant room here, and it's a nice and compact setup. You've seen my videos, you know there will be no buffers, no secondary pumps. We only rely on the pump in the external unit. We run it what's called open loop. That gives us the highest efficiency. Everything will be run as one big zone. Underfloor heating downstairs and radiators upstairs. And have a look. It doesn't take a lot of space, so you don't need tons of space for a regular plant room for a heat pump. It's just an unvented cylinder, same size as any other cylinder, 250 liters in this case. We've got an expansion vessel for the cylinder, so that takes the expansion of water when it heats up in here. We've got expansion vessel for the heating setup. We've got what's called a RoboKit, so that's a pressure gauge for the system, pressure relief for the system, which we actually don't need because there's a pressure relief on the external unit. Filling loop, that's for topping up the system with water. This pipework here, and also that pipework there, that plastic pipework here, that's what site plumber did, builder's plumber, and he will have to reconnect to our pipework when he comes back to site to plumb in a new shower room that's just behind that wall. All the pipework on the ground floor is now completed, and Marie is in the process of pressure testing it. And we've got an overlay system with panels that are directly tileable over, and it's the system that has much lower output than the screeded system, and the reasons are you have to go 150 centers, so wider centers, and less thermal mass, so it will naturally require a higher flow temperature. So this setup will run at 45 degrees C flow temperature, but the benefit of that is we can install slightly smaller radiators on the first floor, and radiators and the ground floor will run as one zone at the same temperature. It's designed to do that. And as you can see, they're not big. This is 1 meter wide by half a meter tall, so 500 by 1000. You find in especially 80s and 90s builds cavity walls, UPVC double glazing. If those systems were sized to 70 degrees flow, 75 flow, and they had single panel radiators, usually when you drop the flow temperature to around 45, you replace them with the same size radiators, so the same width, same height most of the time. You just change them to K2 and you probably are pretty much in the ballpark what you need for 45 C flow. If we're running at 35 here, those radiators would be much bigger. So we've got the plant room pretty much done, just a little bit of lagging left. External unit also connected, underfloor heating completed and pressure tested. Now it's time to go upstairs and sort out hot water system, because existing system is a vented system. So what the guys are doing here, they are removing the cold water storage cistern in the loft, removing all the pipework, removing vented hot water system. That's the cylinder right here. All of that pipework will go. They're gonna gain this cupboard and lose a little bit of space in the garage for the new plant room. Everything's finished and reconnected, and I'm ready to test the mains cold throughout the property and hot as well. Oh, a little bit of bang. Let's have a look. The worry always is when you pressurize the system that used to be vented, that there are some weak joints and then they can fail, cause a leak. Happened to me twice already in the last 20 years. So that's where the cylinder used to be. That's hot looped in. That's heating pipework done. We have no dramas on hot and cold water, no leaks. So that's great. Let's check the plant room. Marie is lagging in the plant room. Any leaks?
No.
No leaks, you sure?
Yeah, looking good.
Alright, we have no leaks apparently in the plant room. That's good. We've got system pressurized. We also have power on now, so I can power it all up. And outside the unit has started, so it's doing the heating. And as always, those vaillant units whisper quiet, as you can see. The most important thing for me is the flow rate. So I force the system to heating, set the temperature really high on the controls and the heat curve really high. And as you can see, we've got a gigantic flow rate of 1500 liters. I know this pump in the unit outside can easily supply enough flow through my system. This is primary pipework going to the radiators upstairs. And as you've seen on manifold, I'm getting DT10 or more. On this pipework, I'm getting DT2. So there's obviously much smaller differential going to rats than to underfloor heating. Probably all the lock sheet valves are fully open on radiators, massive overflow compared to underfloor heating. So I have to go upstairs, turn down radiators, widen that DT on rats, so I've got more flow through the underfloor heating. And just by adjusting radiators upstairs, now I'm getting DT5, exactly DT5 on this manifold without even touching it. So now that I've adjusted flow upstairs, I'm getting correct flow through the manifold. I'm gonna go back to the unit yet again and I'm gonna see what flow rate I get on an auto setting on a pump. And as you can see, I am getting 1200 liters per hour, which is what I would expect from that unit right now. So everything checks out. My flow on the system is now set up. So now you can see the system is running on a similar DT5 on the unit itself. So we've got correct flows everywhere, and if the system was designed correctly, we should be getting correct temperatures of around 21 degrees on the ground floor and around 18-19 in bedrooms. So that's another heat pump installed and commissioned. And what I realized recently is that this year I don't think I've installed more than one gas boiler. I didn't even notice when all of that happened. So that transition for me was very sudden. I'm interested in your experiences. If you were a gas engineer trying to get into the heat pump market, what are the obstacles? What would you need help with? What is the biggest challenge for you to start installing heat pumps?